Okay. When something's really good, you just have to keep going with it. So here's part two. So I just want to kind of put out there. I know that all of our panelists are not going to be able to stay for a little bit longer. So I want to ask Rosemary this question before I get to Takaya and Liz. So in terms of a word of encouragement or words of encouragement that you would like to leave with the participants, what would you like to leave with them today?
Well, some of the things that I've learned throughout my, experience in leadership, and we're all young leaders, so I think we have a lot more to learn. I wouldn't consider myself an expert, but my lived experience has taught me to trust myself, because every time I've decided that I, should second guess myself, or I'm not good enough, smart enough, capable enough to do something, I'm almost always wrong, and I almost always regret it. And that's part of our imposter syndrome that I think that is kind of baked into so much of our leadership, unfortunately. And so words of encouragement, I would say, trust yourself. If you believe you can do it, or if nobody else is doing it, then you're probably the best person to get it done.
Rosemary, thank you so much for your time. We know that you do have to leave us, and it's just been such a pleasure for you to spend the time that you were able to spend with us, just to hear your gems and your wisdom. We truly appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Bye, Rosemary. So we're going to continue. We still have two more dynamic panelists, and we're just going to keep it going until we get the notification we should wrap up. So I just want to kind of put out there, I know that Rosemary already alluded to some of the struggles in terms and some challenges. So I want to kind of put that question out there for you all, because she indirectly kind of covered that in a way, but I wanted to kind of give you all an opportunity to touch upon that as well. So Liz, do you want to touch upon maybe some struggles or challenges that you've experienced in the work that you do?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I could talk about the mistakes I've made and continue to make till the cows come home, as my mom always said. And I'll kind of echo Rosemary. I think a big theme of this is like self-trust and learning to trust yourself. And I think, connected to that, it's it's a learned skill. For me, for sure. I did not learn this growing up. I think most of us didn't, of learning to look within instead of immediately looking outward for approval and acceptance and like validation. Yes, always ask your trusted people, your circle, for feedback, and elicit the kind of like constructive criticism, like pushback that Takaya mentioned before too, of like be open to receive that, but also like the first place you look for validation and for approval should not be outward. And that's like a lifelong journey, I think. But it's certainly something that when you're young, in this work, a young leader, it's really, really challenging. And I think self-care has become a trendy concept, but the underlying real, like, really important thing to try to learn and bring into a practice is a practice of self-love. It could be spiritual, it could be whatever it is for each person, but if you're not learning to love and accept yourself, mistakes and all, you're not going to be able to keep doing the type of work that you want to do. You're not going to be able to love your community the way you want to love it. It has to start here. And I've had to relearn this over and over. Takaya's seen me at difficult moments too, where, when I've really struggled with that self-acceptance, that's where my work can falter, where I can start to feel really stuck. So I think whatever it is, if it's journaling, if it's, but it's deeper than that. It's really like getting to know yourself and self-love.
Oh, that is wonderful. That is fantastic. And again, these are what you're talking about, just doesn't apply to this young generation that this is kind of geared towards, but also for anyone. When you're speaking, I'm sitting there thinking like, yes, I agree with you. And I've been doing this work for a very long time. So thank you for that. It's a really great reminder to kind of keep us grounded in the work that we do. Takaya, so what are some struggles? What are some challenges for you?
First, I just want to say that Liz is one of the strongest youth directors, organizers that I have ever met. It is a privilege to know her, really, and to get to see her work. Like, and so, my struggles with economic hardship, complex family dynamics, and discriminatory encounters and flawed systems all made up my experience as a Black girl growing up in West Virginia. And it made it challenging.
Okay. We're having some technical issues. Takaya, we can't hear you. I don't know what happened, but you were speaking and then it just literally cut out.
Okay, can you hear me now? I can hear now.
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Yes, we can.
I can start over. Maybe they can edit that. Sorry, that made it hard for the editor.
It's okay.
So when it comes to my struggles, I had struggles with, economic hardship, complex family dynamics, and discriminatory encounters and flawed systems. And all of these things made up my experience as a Black girl growing up in West Virginia. And some of those things were challenging. My voice, my physical and emotional safety, and my purpose were all things that seemed at one time to be buried under hardship. But luckily, I found light along the way. The hardships that I've experienced now serve as my biggest strengths. I get to work with the most impacted communities and help provide pathways to problem solving. I get to relate through personal experience and support other young people to become leaders through collaborative efforts with their peers, through social action and civic engagement. My work is now empowering young people around the state by having their voices uplifted, their spaces to be free of discrimination and harm, and to address the systems that are impacting their everyday lives to make them more fair. I want young girls and women to never let their challenges bury them, but instead use them to grow.
Wow. Takaya, I am so thankful in your process of finding your voice, you're helping others find theirs. So thank you so much for sharing that. I think you shared in terms of the theme that I'm really feeling is this sense of vulnerability. And I think you both actually did that in terms of really sharing your story. So I really appreciate that because I know what you say, both of you came from the heart. And I felt that. So I really appreciate you all being vulnerable with not only this will be virtual, but you're being vulnerable. And I think that you're really showing this next generation of how to do that without having any kind of shame or any kind of embarrassment, and showing how you can thrive despite all of those things that you all mentioned. So I really appreciate that. I want to leave with one last thing, ask you one last thing. And we appreciate you all sticking around for the part two, because this has been fabulous. What are some words of encouragement that you would like to leave with the participants? What are some things that you would like to leave them that can serve as words of inspiration to let them know that learning more and doing more is really at the crossroads of what's really going to make a difference for this next generation? What would you like to share with them? And Liz, we can go with you. We can go back to you.
It's like, oh no, if it's me first. There's so many things. For West Virginia young people, not just young women, but maybe especially, but for young people here, I think there's a place for you. We have to create it together. But there is a place for you here in West Virginia. West Virginia is a place where you can thrive as a young person. There's a big thing. I think that my young people a lot of times say that they feel a lot of pressure to stay here sometimes, and it can be a real struggle to try to find, what's a way that I can like follow my passion and stay here because I love West Virginia is what like a lot of people say. And so not to put too much pressure on you, but I think that we do need you. We need your voices. We need your energy. As caring adults, as mentors, as organizers, like we want to create that space together if it doesn't exist yet. So let's do it.
That was awesome. Thank you, Liz. Thank you so much. Takaya, what are some words of inspiration you would like to leave with the group today?
I would just like to say that any young girl or woman out there, that you are so capable and strong and resilient. And we absolutely are benefited by your presence in our state and in our work and in the work in your own communities. And just be authentic and keep going even when things seem hard. Where there is hardship, there is success, and life is so much about balance, and there is so much light that is waiting for you.
I tell you, next time we do this, we need to have like a full day conference, seminar, something.
Something.
Because I tell you what, this has been absolutely wonderful. And I cannot thank you all enough for spending your time with us. And I hope that those who are listening in on this segment is walking away feeling as inspired that I'm feeling right now. So Liz Brunello, Takaya Smith, and Rosemary Ketchum, even though she's not here, I want to personally thank you all from the West Virginia Women's Commission. We cannot thank you all enough for everything that you're doing and what you continue to do. So thank you all very much. We appreciate you so much and the work that you do.
Yes, and just quickly before we end, I just want to say, like, we are so much stronger together. And to talk about leadership skills, Kenyatta, you are such a gatherer of good things and good moments. So just thank you so much for creating this moment for us.
Well, I tell you, this would not be possible if it wasn't all of us working together. Julie Pallas, who has been the one who's been the front person in terms of coordinating this event. It really took a village to make this happen. And we're very thankful that we were able to make it happen. And even though it's virtual, we're hoping next time we can all be together because you all were absolutely phenomenal. So thank you all very much. And thank you for the kind words, Takaya.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.